G'day guys, how we going? Um, Another week in the books, and one step closer. Let's move this around a little bit. Yeah, one step closer to the 2.0 playoffs. And all last week did was make it a whole lot messier. I'll go over last week's games. First off, I've got to do this a bit quicker. The Savi, we've got the kids school Christmas still on tonight, so got a bit of running around to do. So the game of the week according to MFL last week was the Staten Island Stapletons. Myself just nudging out the New Orleans Saints. Saints were probably quite unlucky in this matchup. In a couple of different ways. I don't know what happened with the Marnie Hooker. I don't know if he actually got hurt in the game or whether he just didn't play. No, I'm going to assume he just didn't play. I know I started him in a couple of teams, and I was a bit shocked when he hadn't put up a stat. So I'd say that must have been what happened. Just a late illness and didn't get a start. And then of course he loses J.K. Dobbins at halftime in the Monday night game. But you know what? These things happen. We've all had injuries halfway through games. Sometimes they don't even get halfway into them. So, I'll take any little bit of luck I can get. And I mean, either way, for either one of us, it was going to be a pretty shit result to lose. So I had two guys that I'd been stewing on starting. One of them in particular was Brandon Jones. There's no way in the world I would have started Cameron Kitchens over him. But Brandon Jones was questionable, had the late start. If I'd actually had a chance to look late, but I'd already started work, and it was almost impossible to have a look at it. So I'll take the win. A very much needed win, and for Spirit, I don't think he's officially gone, but he's gone. He can't possibly make the playoffs at this point. At this point, all he's trying to do is possibly fend off the clown suit to somebody else that probably doesn't want to wear it either. So, basically a 3-point win. So, very close game, nice high scoring game, and a lot of games were last week pretty high scoring. All right, Dolphins up against the Packers. Good win here for Jared. Packers had quite a quiet week, even with a 50-point performance from Trey McBride. So I think I think Jared just missed the bonus win. What was that? Yeah, that was it there. I'm pretty sure David pinched the bonus win by 0.31 of a point. So yeah. Good win for Jared. Probably very needed. Things are starting to get pretty damn tight in this league. And for the Packers, live to fight another week. They've got a cushion at the moment, so not a particularly needed win. Probably want to try not to start banking up bad performances, though. Here we go. Providence Steamrollers with a nice win over the Akron Pros. bunch of teams started guys that did not play this week. I know Roquan Smith was. I don't think it comes through until late on Monday night our time that he was probably not going to play. It might have been. Yeah, no, it was after lineup submission, so you probably. I don't know if he was questionable or not leading up to that point. Kenneth will take the win anyway. Very, very much needed for the pros. Kind of falling into the Packers. The same boat as the Packers. Can afford to take a loss. Yeah. Good win for the Steamrolls to keep them somewhat in contention. For the pros, yeah, live to fight another day. With still a healthy division lead. All right. The Philadelphia Eagles up against the Buffalo All-Americans. And a nice win for the All-Americans. Underdog All-Americans, it would have been 2. It's interesting for the all the flack that David copped for trading away a few players. He's got to be one of the luckiest pricks I've ever seen because the team looked pretty ugly at that point, and somehow he's managed to reel off. I don't know. I don't even know if he's lost a game since he did it. So if he has, it was probably one. So. Still rolling along, putting up a good score there. 422.61 is still a good score on the week, and enough to get the bonus win for the Eagles. In another one of these teams that kind of falls into the probably could afford a crappy week, and by no means was it a crappy week. If you're getting up near 400, it's still a pretty good score, but just on last week's scores, it just wasn't quite enough. And Robbie's doesn't hurt Robbie too much this week. Certainly don't want to start banking those up though, much like the others. So live to fight for another week, as I said for the others. And for the All-Americans, pretty much the same thing. Live to fight for another week. He needs a fair bit of stuff to go his way to make the Titan Bowl playoffs and be a chance to defend his title. But all you can do is win and see what happens on the other end of it. So, all right, Borich Bowl. I don't know what Borich Bowl number this would be, but the Bears up against the Bulldogs. Bulldogs put up a very nice score, 489-42. And a good score for the Chicago Bears too at 429-66, and enough to grab a bonus win. Just obviously not enough to get the head-to-head win. Very needed wins for both teams. And need to keep it rolling. Both these teams are fighting it out for these what looks to be 3 playoff spots. It's going to be a dogfight all the way to the end in this. Very good win. Very good win for Jake. I'm sure he doesn't mind beating his old man, and I'm sure a couple of conversations I was having with Matt, and I don't think he really thought he was even going to get the bonus win. He thought he was going to finish 6th. Well, that honour was bestowed to Jared this week. So, well done, guys, on the week. So, and that puts us, here we go. So, current standings. Akron Pros 15-9. Still got a 3-game lead over the Canton Bulldogs, 12-12, and myself, Staten Island Stapletons, also at 12-12. Then we go back to the Providence Steamrollers and the Buffalo All-Americans, both at 10-14. With 2 weeks to go, they both need to pinch some double wins and probably have my team start to fail. In the active division, we've got the Packers at 16-8. Yeah, they're in the playoffs. They nearly scored 5,000 points. For God's sake, they'll be there. The Philadelphia Eagles at 14-10, similar sort of points, and not 100% guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination, but pretty damn close to it. So it would need a lot of things to go wrong for the Eagles not to make playoffs. However, the Miami Dolphins 12-12, almost 4,800 points, definitely nowhere near in the playoffs. And the Chicago Bears 11-13, 4,700 points. Once again, also nowhere near in the playoffs. There's an absolute dogfight between, I'll say, I can't say Jake's team's in the playoffs. He's no more in there than I am. But given his point total, 12-12, I think he could split the remaining games, finish 14-14, and be in the playoffs. I don't think any of these other teams are going to pass him on a head-to-head tiebreaker with the points scored. But if he goes 0-4, then obviously things are much different. It's a dogfight between probably 6 teams. 6 teams for 3 spots. So, is that right? Yeah, 6 teams for 3 spots. And it's going to be a hell of a run to the end. So, this is our last 2 weeks that I've got up on the screen here. The Stapletons. Well, actually, no. I'll look at Jakey's team first. Jake's team finish off against the Providence Steamrollers and the Canton Bulldogs. Buffalo All-Americans. I would be shocked if he doesn't come away with a minimum of 2 wins in those games. For me, I think he finishes at least 14-14, maybe better. For the Staten Island Stapletons, and they finish off against the Chicago Bears and the Providence Steamrollers. The Bears is a tough matchup. Been playing quite well of late. Steamrollers certainly have the dynamic there to be a difficult matchup, but they have been struggling. Where are we? Scores. Yeah, see, we haven't cracked 400 since. They haven't cracked 400 since week 5. Definitely have struggled in the second half of this season. So at one point there was an argument to be made that they were going along as the best team in the league. So just shows you how quickly it can fall apart. They did have a few injuries, as everyone has. Who else is the 12-12 teams? So we've got. So for me, these 2 teams, the Stapletons and Bulldogs, can both have a big say on whether the Steamrollers or the All-Americans are any chance of making the playoffs. Because in my opinion, I think they both have to win out. I I think minimum 13 games, 13 wins is the absolute minimum, I think, for the playoffs. I don't think it gets in any lower. No, 100% it won't. It can't. It won't happen. So the other 12 and 12 team is the Dolphins. What do we got? Dolphins play the Saints this week. Now, Spirit's team hadn't been going well, but I've played him twice pretty recently, and he's put up good scores against me both weeks. So he's definitely still a tough out, and I've got to imagine he'll be doing everything he can to get out of that last spot. And then in the last week, the Dolphins play the Pros, which is a tough game. Jared could... His team hasn't gone well of late. Where are we? Yep. So last week was he started to go up well. Put a decent score in again, 360, 328, 452. But he's had some pretty bad weeks over the last, what we got? 1, 2, 3. 3 of his last 5 games have been bad games, and they're games that aren't going to get you a bonus win. He's going to need some consistency down the stretch. He can definitely do it. And I don't know. He's definitely on the edge of the bubble there. Depends on whether he can. If he can beat Spirit this week and pulls a bonus win, he's going to be hard to get past. So that's whether he can beat Akron in the last week, I don't know. There's a lot of week 14 buys that guys are going to have to try and navigate too, and that I don't think too many people understand how harsh next week's bye weeks are. It is nasty. And it might actually work in Miami's favour because I know one of Akron's players. So without looking at too much else, I'm not going to forecast into the future too far. All right. Actually, I just want to have a look at the Eagles that do have a rough run home. Packers this week, Bears next week. I think they need one win would absolutely guarantee playoffs. I don't even know if they really need that. They've scored some pretty good points this season. Sorry, I don't want to get into that too much. That's more of a next week problem than this week because you got to see what happens this week first. 11-win team. So we go back to the Bears now. Bears will face the Stapletons this week, which is an enormous game with enormous playoff bearings in them. And in the last week, they play the Eagles. So you could say the Bears have a tough run home. But also anyone that's playing them is a tough run home too. So I think Matt probably needs to come away with at least one win this week. Because if he didn't, look, if it went down that path, let's say he got one win and if he got a head-to-head win and I didn't win anything, yeah, that'd keep things interesting. So, yeah, that's the one problem with trying to predict the 2-win format. It's freaking impossible. So, all right. And, yeah, obviously the Eagles matchup's going to be tough next week. I don't know what their bye weeks and stuff look like, but once again, not going to get into that. Steamrollers and All-Americans, I can cover both of these guys together. So Steamrollers finish off against the Bulldogs and the Stapletons. Pretty much absolutely must win. Big scores. Yep. blah, blah, blah. All Americans finish off against the Akron Pros and, where are you? Canton Bulldogs. Must win. Absolutely must win. Big scores, 2 wins. You're going to need the 14 wins, in my opinion, because of your points scored. Yeah. And for the Saints, they are literally there to play spoiler. And they're not going to play much of a spoiler against the Packers, but they can play a massive spoiler against the Dolphins. It's going to be a this week could really make a massive difference on how this is going to play out. But some bottom teams win, some top teams lose, some middle teams do not a great deal, and we end up in a bigger mess than what we are already. All right. Game of the week, apparently, according to MFL, the Green Bay Packers against the Philadelphia Eagles. Haven't done the other thing that I normally try to keep an eye on. Where are we? You'll do. No. I can never remember what this bloody thing's under. No, not that. No, it's definitely not that. Oh, there it is. God, Jesus. Freaking blind. All right. What did I say? Packers, Eagles. All right. For the Packers and Eagles, all time, the Packers are 0-3 against the Eagles. So at this point, Robbie would very much love to keep that 0-3 and turn it into an 0-4 and another donut for Paddy Profke. That would be enough to push the Eagles over the top and into the playoffs for sure. And I tell you what, their predicted score would be one of the higher ones I've seen this season, I reckon, for 378.07 for the predictions from Fantasy Sharks. That's a huge score. So Sharks probably agree. They think the Eagles can win. They most certainly can win. And Bucket will say, let's go the Eagles for the win. Seal the playoff spot. All right. The Chicago Bears up against the Staten Island Stapletons. All right. What's our history here? Oh, really? We've played once ever. It was a Week 13 win last season for the Bears. So currently hold a 1-0 record against the Stapletons. Don't know if Matt's actually submitted a lineup here or not. I just quickly threw one together there before, just to get a bit of an idea where we're at. Should be a pretty decent high scoring matchup, this one, I think. Looks like Matt's still got a couple of players he needs to put in there. It's probably his punter and kicker, probably. By the look of it. It should be a damn close matchup, this one. There's going to be some pretty big players running around tomorrow for us. So see how this goes. I'll tip myself. I'll tip the Stapletons to come out in a close win. Not a lot of confidence in that though. So Canton Bulldogs up against the Providence Steamrollers. Historically, where are we? historically, who did I pick on? Historically, it's 2-1 in favour of the Steamrollers. We're living in a different world these days. Although Fantasy Sharks does seem to give your team a bit of a love here, Kenneth. So who knows? I'm going to tip Jake to square the series up against the Steamrollers this week. And generally, apparently, if that happens, that basically means he's going to win 2 games. So I think this will be the end of the Steamrollers playoff aspirations this week. So, and we start to get a clearer picture. All right, Akron Pros up against the Buffalo All-Americans. 2-2 all time, apparently. Didn't need to look too far. I'll have a look and see. We're 2-2 all time. So, yes, okay. So it would have been a playoff win last year for David, and a win at this point last year. So week 13 and a week 15 win against him last year. And yeah, loss earlier this season. So this is probably Joey's chance to exact some revenge for a playoff loss last season, which obviously led to David winning the championship. And I'm gonna tip Joey to exact the revenge and probably finish David's playoff aspirations at the same time. I just think Joey's team is better. Yeah. Not much else to say there, really. Fantasy Sharks kind of agree, so... is this the last game? This is the last game. The Miami Dolphins and the New Orleans Saints. She's 1-2 lifetime between them. Where are we? Saints, so... lost both matches. Jared lost both matches against the Saints last year and won the earlier one this season. So, I actually think this is going to be a damn close game. Jared gets Joe Burrow back after his bye week last week. Fantasy Sharks has got it like dead set close as shit. It's going to come down to some... I honestly think this game is going to be really, really, really close. It's just going to be that explosive performance that pushes the other team over the top. I played Spirit last week, and it was a brutal game. And I'm actually going to tip him to bounce back and get a win here. Square the series up with the... Oh, no, not square the series up. Actually pull an extra game ahead in the series against the Dolphins lifetime. I just think the Dolphins are sputtering a bit. Kind of looking for a spark. I don't know. I don't know if that spark's here right now. So I'll tip Spirit to get a win and end his losing streak. And probably start to make the playoff picture look a little bit different in this in the league. So that's my thoughts. Who knows? I'm generally wrong, so good luck, everyone. Don't have a great deal of time, Masabi, so nice quick little potty. And like I said, good luck. Hope we can all just have our players start and finish games. Would be nice. All right. See you guys.